Sup, goobers? My hair's black now. Welcome back to another video. My life as a game developer. In this video, we're mostly going to be talking about Spiderweb. There's going to be a little bit of Sip Fisher content, a little bit of a few miscellaneous things. It was the 4th of July this week, so a little bit of a break, but mostly Spiderweb content. So if you're here for Spiderweb, you better be. If you're not here for Spiderweb, stay anyway. What the fuck is wrong with you? If you don't know what this is a video series that I'm doing documenting my experience working on like a kind of a large group of different game projects. I'm a game developer. I guess I probably should mention that. I'm a game developer. I make games, and so I'm making a bunch of games this summer because I have a ton of free time, and I am documenting my experience making those games. So, yeah. Okay, now you need to watch the rest of the video. If you got past this point, if you don't watch the rest of the video, I will know, and it'll make me really sad. So, come on. Okay, next first day coming up. Let's get right into the videos. Okay, so it's editing Midas here, and I just watched day one, and it's super boring. So basically, to explain, next year for the college that I go to, I'm going to be doing a 1.5 year long game project. So it's typically 1 year, but most people's hope is that it's 1.5 year. You have to like pass a certain bar of quality, but you know, what am I gonna do? Like not reach that bar? My point is that I decided on a project. I've been flip-flopping between multiple. I mentioned this in my first video, and I don't think I've brought it up since, but I've been flip-flopping a bunch, and I finally made a decision. I'm going to be working with honestly a bunch of people from the Sit Fisher team on this school project. And if I get permission, I will show off some footage of this like super early prototype right now. All right. That is July 30th. Next day now. So, Repente, remember the school project that I was working on that we're hoping to get released? I made a I sent a message out to my artist last week that anyway. So I sent a message out to the artists that worked on that team, and I was like, "Hey, we need Steam assets," and I got them. Here they are. Here's the assets, and hopefully the store page will be like at some point next week. It's a kind of low priority to be fully honest, but at some point I'd like to get that done. Just kind of wrap up. It's not that much. It's not that much work like left, and so yeah, that'll be cool. Hopefully you guys will get to see that. Hey guys, so I want to share a little fun fact about me. Actually, okay, I don't know why the focus got so bad that I couldn't like see myself or anything anymore, but I'm back. So my point was, please don't unfocus. Really struggling right now. So it only is taking me like 17 attempts to to show this off. And let's see if I'm gonna even be able to hold these in a way that isn't gonna like kill me immediately. I like role-playing games. We got City of Mist, one of my personal favorites. Uh, Dungeons and Dragons. GURPS, personal favorite. The generic universal role-playing system. What else do I got? This bad boy. Cyberpunk Red. I actually just got Cyberpunk Red. I really liked 2077, and I had a friend who offered to run a Red game, but it just kind of never went through, and I've always wanted to play it, so I bought the book. And just imagine, right here is Legend of the Mist. I'm a Kickstarter backer for Legend of the Mist, so I'm gonna get that. I get the playtest rules as they update, but I'm gonna get the full thing when it finally releases. Okay, I'm putting these back, and hopefully they don't cause me any more headaches. Okay, all of that. My point with all of that, I like role-playing games a lot. Um, I'm a big fan of like a bunch of video games that are role-playing games. Dragon Age Origins, my personal favorite Dragon Age game. I've never played Veilguard. I just like didn't like 2 that much, and I really didn't like Inquisition. I mean, like I liked them. They were good games. I just didn't like them. You know, I really liked Origins, even though there were some janky parts of it. The Mass Effect series I like. Yeah, obviously I play Baldur's Gate 3, like Game of the Year. It's not the point. The point is I like them. I have decided that I'm going to create a prototype for one. A little prototype for a role-playing game set in space opera kind of vibe. I've seen this done before with my friends, you know, make a prototype, show it off, gather a team, especially in the circles where I run with a lot of other people who are interested in game development, artists, musicians, designers, programmers. I mean, it's pretty easy to gather people who might be interested if you have something to show off. So that's what I want to do. But even though I did this whole spiel, that's actually not what I want to talk about today. I'm going to talk about that in 2 days later in this video. I'm going to talk about that later in this video. What I want to talk about today is Ambulance. Ambulance is a game concept that was birthed from I enjoy Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. It's a fun game. I don't play it like that much. I have maybe 4 hours on but I enjoy the concept. And I was thinking about a version of that game where it's multiplayer and you're both in a world where you're doing essentially the same thing. One person's talking, other person's defusing a bomb. And my friend, who is also the producer on Sit Fisher, mentioned this movie called Ambulance. I think it's a Michael Bay movie. Hold on. A Michael Bay film, yes. You show me Ambulance, a Michael Bay film, and it was kind of like this. The main thing that he thought was interesting about it was that it was just constant escalation of tension. You know, they're in an ambulance, now someone's dying and they got to save the dying person, and then there's like just another thing and another thing and another thing and another thing, and it just gets like more and more tense. So it's a multiplayer game. There's 4 roles. You play with 4 people. There's 4 roles that you can take on. And the situation is that you are in an ambulance driving away from the police while a person inside, who is like, I don't know, your ally, is dying in the ambulance, and you got to escape with all the money, right? So we have the setup. You imagine this scene. Well, don't imagine, because I'm going to draw it in Microsoft Paint, which you know. But so here are the 4 roles. Here are the 4 roles. Very back of the ambulance, this dude's the gunner. Now the cops are chasing after you, right? Boom, gunner's back there. He's fending off the cops. Now if he does a good job, or she, be inclusive, Midas. Okay, now if they're doing a good job, the gunner's like taking out all the cops, then the cops will like minimally inhibit the players, right? This is the person that kind of gets additional difficulty off the back of the rest of the players. Character number 2, the driver. Now the driver is somewhat similar to the gunner in the way that they can help delay the cops, make the cops less of an issue, right? But not as much as the gunner. Now, the driver's main goal is to get to the safe house in the car, driving the car, normal car driving mechanics. And when they get to the safe house, that's when the mission ends. So the driver's like, but the driver is what causes the end of the mission, like whether or not you succeeded or failed, hinges a lot on the. Which is also why I should clarify now that all these roles are just as you start. Players can get knocked down, players can be doing their job poorly, players can need additional support. These roles are fluid. Other people can take on these roles if they need to. All right. Now, you know, the big twist, there's a person doing surgery, right? And also in the back of the ambulance. They're trying to save their ally. And if they save their ally, I haven't decided yet if that's like a mission end, like you fail, if the ally dies, if it's a fail or like a money loss or whatever it is. But now you might be wondering, like, oh, well, how does the driver know where to go? Oh, how does the surgeon know what to do, right? Because role number 4 is the mastermind who sits in the passenger seat with a laptop. On this laptop, they see 2 things. They see instructions on where to go, and they see instructions on how to do surgery. So they have to be communicating with the driver on when to take turns, what streets to go on, how to get to the safe house, and they have to be communicating with the surgeon as well to make sure that their ally doesn't die. Now, all this, right, ideally, is a very stressful, very engaging, like high-stakes multiplayer experience. I think we don't make this whole sequence probably doesn't last too long. You know, we want to give lots of short bursts of high tension would be the idea. So a good place to stop, maybe use the money that you got from the ambulance, like lots of stuff to do in between these high-stress missions. But that's the core of the gameplay, are these very stressful experiences where each person needs to be working at their maximum capacity. And so there you go. That is Ambulance. That is the idea for the game that I would like to make in like a year, or maybe never. Just know that if I ever work on Ambulance, you know, you'll be in the know. You'll be an exclusive knower. You will be in the know. You. Carson, you'll be in the know. No one else. No one else who hasn't seen this video will not, none of them will be in the know. Appreciate that. Okay. Oh, that's the end of the day. That's the end of the day. Bye. Whoa, bad news bears. So my computer broke. Well, okay. I've had this issue for a while where the computer doesn't send signal to monitors for some reason. It's happened before. It's not like a unknown problem. It's been bad. Second term of school, I didn't have this desktop at all. And the same problem happened. So I had to take it in to get repaired. Yeah, unfortunate. So I'm losing work. Hopefully they diagnose the issue quick. That's it. Hopefully they do it quick and I can get back to work soon. Because, I mean, most of my stuff, I don't even think I have enough storage on my laptop to put another Unreal project like Spiderweb on it. Yeah, there's just nothing I can do. So, right now. So I'm taking a little bit of a rest day. I'm taking this opportunity to play Deltarune. Undertale was the only game I owned as a kid. So Deltarune is a huge release for me, and it is crazy I haven't gotten to play it till July 3rd. So that's what I'm going to be doing all day. Later. Hey everybody, just to be fully honest, I do live in fear of our descent towards fascism. You know, America and the events that I'm seeing today are just not the type of country that I believe I grew up in. However, today is July 4th, so I'm not getting any work done today. See you tomorrow. Okay, so 2 days in a row, straight up making excuses. Oh, dude, there's such a pain in my back. What the oh, what is it in my chair? Is there sharp? It's in my shirt. Oh, it's all the fucking little needles from last night. Ugh. Okay. It's been 2 whole days of just straight up excuses. So it's time for me to lock in. Now, after I played Deltarune till 6 p.m., then I locked in today, and I got some cool stuff done on Spiderweb. Spiderweb is the project that I'm currently discussing. You hear me? Okay, so let's break it down. Okay, so let me explain. So the way that our arm works, when you grab an object, now there's a system in Unreal called sockets, and it's relatively simple. You grab a bone on a mesh, and you throw a socket on there, and it just saves a point in space. And you can move the socket around the bone, so it's okay, well, I always want bracelets to go on the wrist. Grab the forearm bone, put a socket right here, so now whenever the forearm moves, socket gets the same relative location. Easy peasy, simple, right? So I want to be able to grab an object, actually grab it, move it with my hand. So in order to do that, I tried to use the socket, didn't work. Spent an hour trying to fix that, only to find out that the problem was that I needed to turn physics off before I was allowed to attach an object to a socket. Why this is not a thing that they would tell you, I have no idea. Because literally nothing happened. When I used the attach actor to component node, and nothing happened. Genuinely no change when that node fired. Because physics was on the object. That's send me an error, please. Tell me that the thing that I'm doing isn't working. You made it. You made the system. So you see, if I made it, I would get it. Because I don't put checks for that. But I don't make game engines. Certified Unreal moment. Anyway, now you can grab shit and hit it. The hit stuff is actually kind of interesting, because the way that it works is that it calculates how fast your cursor is moving. It's taking the current mouse position as represented as a point in the world, and then comparing it to the last mouse position as a point in the world since the previous frame. And it does it every frame, or to get a general speed. I do realize that logic is frame dependent. but it works on my machine. Now I am gonna fix it as popcorn. I don't know how long this has been here. Also, it wasn't like pop, so the like implication that I might have eaten it that I just made was really strange. Anyway, yeah, if you're going, essentially the idea is if you're moving your mouse fast enough, you will activate this damage thing, and you can deal damage to an object. Boom, done. But overall, great work day on Spiderweb. I also finally set up a GitHub repo, created the Unity project. These are both companies that make software. I created this stuff for the space game. I didn't start on it. In fact, I just spent. Hold on. Oh, handwriting reveal. So a little fun fact about me is that I was never taught. I went to a Montessori school. I was never taught how to write. That's not like intrinsic to Montessori school. It's just the one I went to. But yeah. So this is my handwriting, and I taught myself. It used to be worse, and then I like taught. Okay. Anyway, handwriting reveal. This is yeah. I'm learning some. Some of this is information I know already, but I'm taking notes on advanced scripting techniques in Unity because I haven't really used it as seriously as I've used Unreal, despite having like a minor preference. I just haven't used it as much. I did that on Spiderweb, Space Project, which right now, code name. This is a code name. You are now in the know. You are now in the know. I'm code naming it Project Andromeda. Now, the reason I picked that is because code names tend to catch on. They tend to, they tend to stick because names just stick, right? Here's the thing. I picked this code name intentionally. One, because I hate it. I just don't like it. I think it sounds bad. Two, there are other games called Project Andromeda, like two. And there's like a few just called Andromeda and like the Andromeda Project or like the Andromeda Files. Like, I cannot keep this name. So it'll never stick. I will find a better name for it. I have lots of thoughts about the game. None of them are solid. And by the time I'm done with these steps, they're all going to be cylinders. So it's really hard. Whatever. They're all going to be capsules. The whole game. Capsules and white boxes. Because it's a prototype. So no name needed for now. But code name, you're in the know. You're in the know. That's like spy shit.
How does it feel to be in the know? Does it feel good? Are you happy that you're in the know?
I haven't gotten everything that I wanted to do on the RPG project done. Project Andromeda. I'm gonna stop calling it RPG project. I didn't get everything that I wanted to get done today. Just other stuff took longer than I thought, and I also played Deltarune until 6. So I'm like peak of responsibility here. I'm gonna tomorrow. I plan to create a strong action plan for everything I want to get done in these last 2, and that'll be it. Yeah. So today I didn't do very much. I went to the library at my school, hung out with a bunch of the Sit Fisher team, and we got like a minor amount of work done, but we mostly talked, we hung out, talked about life, what it meant to do the job that we do, all the introspective stuff that isn't interesting to paraphrase back to a camera. So on top of talking about what I did today later, I also want to show off a little bit of an extension to last week's end of video teaser, which is the bounce pads. Now, un momento. Terribly sorry for the interruption. I got a call from my parents. Anyway, so what I want to show off, a little teaser, is now that we have these bounce pads, which are primarily used as a way to traverse, right? So I can. Oh, it takes so long to walk down the dock. Boom! Bounce pad. Ignore the fact that the water is filled my entire dock. I am not sure why that is what happened. But you can pick them up, nice and easy. Now, there's a pretty fun tech because you can pick them up as you're bouncing, and then place them right as you land. Hold Hold on. Can I get this? Can I get this right? Can I get this right? So if you time it perfectly, you bounce up, grab it while you're bouncing up in the air, and then place a new one as you land. Now I placed 2 there because I'm not great at this, but we're gonna see if I'm gonna be able to pull off this little technique. Okay, so part of the technique is you actually do want to miss it on like the second try, because otherwise, if you didn't do that, you'd be like too cool, and that would just like be unfair to the rest of the Sit Fisher players. I'm gonna get 5 right now. Okay, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's 5. That's 5. Okay. Okay. In other news, I know I've teased it a few times, and it's been hard to start getting good work done on it. I will say, there'll probably be a not insignificant amount of focus of next week. But my RPG project, Project Andromeda, you know what it is, Project Andromeda. Here are the 3 things that you're about to see. Here's my action plan. Here's my call to action that if the video is already out, watch it, because here's what I'm going to be doing. First step. Unity project's made. It's uploaded to GitHub. That was a problem today, but I fixed it. Task numero uno. I need to get some dudes, some capsules, and I need them in the world, and I want them to be able to walk around with the mouse. I mean, here's the thing. I'm gonna have to use pathfinding in order to get the moving to work, but I want it to also be able to, like, you know, similar to other point and click RPGs with a point and click system, point and click movement. I want to be able to path to objects or characters that I click on. That's task 1. Once I got that, I want the characters to move around properly. I want them to be able to path to objects, and I want free move the camera. My next step, I want to create a dialogue system. Now, my good friend Oliver gave me this little piece of advice that's like every narrative game designer, one of the first things that they always try to do is implement a dialogue tree system. Now, I looked, and I couldn't find anything that I liked. Now, maybe it exists, but I'm going to try my hand at creating some tools in Unity to a degree that I've never tried before. Because I'm not a great writer. Personally, I'm not like super amazing at it. I think I'm fine. Especially when it comes to RPGs, I think I've developed that specific skill because I've been the game master for so many games, but I'm generally not a good writer. I would want other people doing writing. So I want to create a system that makes it very easy for people on the team to write dialogue, format it correctly, have a dialogue tree, go to different outcomes. I feel like my camera looks a little blurry. Do I look blurry? Okay. After that gets done, now that's a big undertaking. I'm actually going to be still happy if I get that done by the end of summer. Task 3, basic turn-based combat. So the initial way that I'm going to think about doing this is that every character essentially just has a group of actions that they're allowed to take. What I can do is I can take very, very granular behaviors, attack, move, shoot, duck, roll, all these things that a character might be able to do. And then, sure, these maybe are actions all on their own, but if I want to create interesting maneuvers or techniques, what I can do is I can grab these granular little actions and then clump them together into these packages. And each character, ideally, has a list of all these little packages that they have access to, and they use one every turn. Then their turn is over and it passes to the next. The basics of combat is I want turns to pass between characters, and I want actions to be selectable and usable based off of a prerequisite of different stuff, I guess. Now you know my goals. Now you know what this project is going to be, what I want it to be. And I'm excited to really get to work on it starting next week. And I will see you then. Bye-bye. Popcorn.